Oh, hi everybody. While I make sure that we have some audio. Hi everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the Horned Queen Chronicles, Monachopsis. I have my wonderful group of chaos gremlins here with me today, ready to traverse the land of Tveland once again. But before we do that, we're going to go around and just give some character introductions real quick. And then we're going to get into it. So I'm going to go opposite order today. We're going to start with John. John, who are you playing
Whoa,
tonight?
I'm first.
Yeah.
My name is John. I'm playing Sephiloth the Unkind, a creepy, esoteric hermit that is devout to not only the Horned Queen, but to his knight, Ordain Oathblood.
Awesome. Awesome. And we'll move right on over to the wonderful D. D, who are you playing?
Oh, hello, everybody. My name is Dee, and tonight I am playing Karma the Spider. I am one of the pale ones, and I will do the Horned Queen's bidding as she sees fit.
Perfect. Let's kind of go an S shape up. And Rachel, who are you playing?
Hi, I'm Rachel. I am playing the Swarm, a cursed skinwalker, and along for the ride, I suppose.
Last but certainly not least, Trevor.
Hi, I'm Trevor. I will be playing Ordain Oathblood, the Hellhound of the Horned Queen. He can't read.
Oh, that is true. Ordain cannot read. And for everybody watching, my name is Brickk. I am going to be your humble storyteller, your narrator this evening. And with that, I think we're going to head into our episode of the Horned Queen Chronicles, Monachopsis. There we go. It would help if I unmuted. Um, all right. So last session, our very first session, we met everybody in the party. We kind of conglomerated and figured out how the Horned Queen found each and every one of you through various means. And in the process, you all have been brought together under the guise of some of the governmental figures within the Horned Queen's court, her hollow. And basically you all got sent your first mission. You are on your way to Grift to retrieve some teeth that were very vague and prophetic, but she is your queen after all, so you do her bidding as she pleases, and you have set forth. Gimli has gotten your wagon and your donkey ready. He threw you all a very lush party, which made some of you a little bit more worse for wear than others. And now that you are all healed and sobered up in some respect, we are now leaving the hovel that you all have called home for so very long. And as we are starting now, kind of traveling on the road, how is everyone feeling? Where is everybody at?
I think Ordain would be probably in the back of this wagon, just kind of sitting, just kind of trying to read signs that we might go past, like wooden signs, and just being like, it's too fucking long. Words. Too long. Too many letters.
Just too long in general.
Right, that's what I said.
Interesting.
I think Sephiloth would be at the front of the cart, guiding my donkey.
Does your donkey have a name?
It does. My donkey's name is Germanus.
And how long have you been with Germanus? Is Germanus a new person in Sephiloth's life, or has he had this donkey for a long time?
Germanus is fresh, as was Dante previously, and Jeremiah before that. I could go on, but the list is extensive.
Jeremiah was a good one.
Jeremiah was sick and weakly.
But he looked cuter than the others.
Yes.
Where is everybody? So Sephiloth is on the donkey, kind of escorting the cart behind it. Where is everybody else? Ordain said he was on the back of the cart. What about the Swarm and Karma?
Swarm is probably, for now, walking next to the donkey and occasionally just like snatching horseflies off its back and just like tearing the wings off and munching on them.
I think Karma is holding on to the underside of the carriage until Ordain makes his note, and I will climb up into the carriage proper and say, "Do you know what I like most about you, Ordain?"
Not quite, but I'm sure you're gonna tell me, right?
You're a dull blade that can cut things. So rare. You know the best part of a blade. It doesn't need to know what it's cutting. It just cuts.
Thought of myself as more of a hammer, but blade can do the trick.
Yes.
I like
Multiple
that.
tools.
I'd say I'm pretty well versed, actually, yeah. So, that fits. Thanks for the compliment.
You can call it that.
I would
All right.
consider you like the head of a spear, sire.
More weapons. Nice. What about you, Swarm? What do you think I am?
We think you're weapon shaped. I don't understand the game.
No, you and I are thinking the exact same thing.
I suspect that is very true.
Well, Sephiloth, we there yet?
Not yet, sire.
How much longer?
A while, sire.
Is it a shorter while than the last time he asked?
Would anyone else care to do the driving?
So progress then.
I can drive.
Sephiloth kind of like looks down to the swarm as like slightly feigns away and is like, no, that's okay. I think I'd like to hold on to Germanus for just a bit longer this time. And I kind of
fine.
lean into my seated position and
Oh, come on. Sephiloth. No need to be rude. Let them drive. Swarm, you ever driven before?
We feel like we know how to do it.
And that's all it is, right? A feeling. That's what's knowledge, right? There's a feeling. Right? I think I'm using that right.
We hold the
Oh.
reins, the donkey goes.
Right. Come on, Seth.
As you wish, sire. I would like to bring Germanus to halt. And then I slide off of Germanus. And I put my palms out as if to assist the swarm.
We will not take his hands and just climb very spindly up the side of the way. Wait, are you on the donkey or on the cart?
I got off of Germanus,
Can I?
as that is the donkey's name, and
Yes, but do I
when
need to be on the donkey or
wheeled-
can I be on the cart? Do I have to be on him?
I don't believe our cart has a seat.
Then I will get up onto the donkey. And I'm not going to hurt him. I'll grab whatever straps and pull myself up that way and take the reins.
I close my eyes as this happens.
What do you think we're going to do?
He's just bent out of sorts is all. We keep killing the donkeys.
That is an extensive we that you use, sire. You keep killing the donkeys.
Right. I need some blood.
And also, I believe he's mostly worried about you being bound together by sickness and disease and weeping bile. Probably not good for Germanic.
We'll do our best to stay tidy.
I do appreciate it, as this is our 7th donkey.
7 already. How time flies.
I wish that I could agree with you, but 8 months is not a long time to have 7 donkeys.
Technically, we're behind the curve. We should have 8, 1 for each month.
Germanus has stayed in my possession for 2 months' time now, and I would like to keep him for longer.
He gets really bent out of shape if I kill the donkeys.
But if it makes you feel better, Swarm will reach into their backpack and pull out the leather muzzle that they have and belt it around their face and just... Does this offer you comfort?
I'm unsure whether or not this offers me comfort, but if you intend it to make me comfortable, I will accept. Thank you.
Right then. Everybody's happy. Equal parties.
We'll flick the reins and get moving.
Shit!
And as you do so, can everybody who's paying attention to the road, if you choose to be, can you make me a presence check?
Can I specifically be looking for other travelers on the road
Absolutely.
to traumatize with my presence?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
15.
15.
15, all right.
19.
19. What do we got for karma?
Karma. Take a second to remember this is a D20 system.
Yeah, D20 had to mod.
I have a 17, so that's plus 3, yeah?
Yes.
So only an 11 for me.
Okay, so for yours entirely, give me 1 second. You all kind of in the same, the three of you, Ordain, the Swarm, and Sephiloth, you all kind of at the same moment, as soon as Sephiloth, you peek it and see first and you point, and you two immediately go to where he points, and you do see a road sign kind of coming up. There is a little bend where you could take a small, separate, like, off-beaten path, or you can stay on the main road, and it does say, there's, like, a multitude of these like different arrows pointing in directions. Some don't even have a road attached, but they're pointing in the direction nonetheless. And you see that there are two that continue down where you are. One says Grift and has like a glyph that you would all know means that it's like still a couple days travel. And right underneath it, there is one for another town called Eski, with a glyph that you see symbolizes just about a half day, a day's most travel ahead of you.
So, just a question. It goes basically same road.
Yep, same
First
road
town,
where you're
then next
traveling.
town. Okay.
Yeah, it says Eski is going to be your first town stop, and then beyond that, if you keep going, it'll give you more information about how far Grift is. But you know where you are now, that Grift is about a 5 or 6 day worth of travel for you all. So it's still going to take most of the day that you have to get to the town. Town of Eski. And Karma, you see kind of standing a little ways off, the main road kind of bends to the right. This off-beaten path that's kind of looks like another major wannabe road bends a little bit more to the left, and you see a little ways down in that direction, you see just a couple folks walking. They've got, you know, some bundles under their arm. One seems to have like a backpack full of like sticks, like one of those makeshift burlap sacks with a bunch of sticks for fire. He's carrying it on his back. His counterpart has some bundles underneath their arm. Not quite sure exactly what it is, but you see two folk off in that direction.
Gotcha. What would you say would be the best way to roll for cruelness? I think as seeing people that Karma could impose their will on, Karma has like a knee-jerk reaction, but they seem kind of out of the way. So what should I roll to fight that instinct?
To fight that instinct, it would be another presence check, because that's like your charm, your wielding of your powers, so it's definitely going to be another presence check to see if you can contain yourself to not go after these folk.
Okay, that's a 17, so I think there's going to be some very pleasant insectoid like clicking from Karma, and the like inner hands will rub together, and Karma will just like fixate on them and start muttering to itself.
Anybody respond to that?
Well, considering the fact that most of those signs were probably written in language, Ordain didn't see any of it. And it's
You saw it, yeah. It just looks like symbols on a fucking piece of wood for you.
So I rolled a 15. Do I see any birds?
Yeah, you definitely see kind of like, you are in a very, it's not super like forested, but there are tree like conglomerations here and there, and between them you do see kind of like these weird raven vulture like birds that kind of have these silvery plumes like at the tops of where their like shoulders would be as they sit, and it kind of fades into this like purplish black. Their beaks are silver, their head is silver, and it kind of just has this nice ombre effect to a very deep midnight purple black. You see a bunch of those birds in all of the trees.
Sephiloth.
Yes,
Keeping
sire.
track of these winged beasts. They scare me. I don't like them. Don't let them get close.
Yes, sire.
Pretty to look at from a distance, though, but I don't like them.
As you wish.
And then hearing the insectoid kind of sounds coming from Karma, I would go, is it some sort of like bodily function that Should we be... Sephiloth, what's happening?
I would slow to move next to the cart. And could I kind of put two and two together and notice
You
in what
see-
direction
yeah.
Karma
Yeah,
is
with a 19, you definitely have kind of, like, after the noise and seeing, you kind of surveyed the area, and you all will also, kind of see if you peruse in that direction. You do see those two folks still traveling down that lefter path.
I believe, Ordain, that Karma is tithering at the two people walking along the path to our left.
Right. People.
Is it not nature to be excited at two potential toys?
I think it is an unhealthy coping mechanism that you consider everything that moves a potential toy.
Not true. The swarm is a very independent creature. It's frustrating.
I'm not sure how to respond to that. Thank you.
You can take it as a compliment.
We are swarm-shaped, yes.
All the compliments today. I like this energy. Very good.
Speaking of teeth, we're to remove someone's. Does anyone know where we could find, I don't know, people who need their teeth removed? I'm not generally sent on the front foot. We know this city is a good starting place, but what should be our first point of contact?
That's a good question, isn't it?
I believe the mouth would be the first point of contact.
These
Sephiloth?
two.
That's all Carver will just say today.
Carver's not having
There's no
it.
follow-up to it.
You tell me right now, Karma, you want us to take these people's teeth? You say it. Or if Sephiloth put his grimy little hands inside their mouth and pull them himself.
Were we not sent for specific teeth?
Specific teeth, yes.
All right. I'll look at them and go, Oi! How do you know this important that has teeth?
I love when he does this.
Can you roll me presence?
Perfect. This is my
Yeah,
best
roll me
stat.
presence.
That's a 13.
Okay. Yeah, you call after these two folk, and even though they are a little ways away, there is nothing really else around, so your sound travels pretty far. And you just see them kind of stop walking and look at each other and look over their shoulder, and then kind of shrug, and they start moving forward to you. And are you stopping the cart at all? As they start to now walk to you?
Are we stopping? Are we? I don't understand what we're asking. I'll stop the cart because I'm confused.
Maybe keeping it like a brisk pace.
Oh.
Not a brisk pace, a slow, I don't know what, slow, and we'll get by. But as we're going by, slower in talking.
We will do our
Genius.
best.
I have a
And,
quick question.
Go ahead.
How do scrolls work? Use once and they're gone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you have something within your character that says you get a certain amount of scrolls a day or whatever have you, whatever you have currently at your dispensal right now is one a day, one use only. As you kind of have this weird hiccup with the cart and you kind of stop it and then you're going, you see that they kind of instinctually just brisken their pace to come meet up with you. And before you know it, they kind of, sweep alongside the wagon, and you see that it is a couple. The gentleman has really, really long, greasy hair. It falls in his face. He has a very big, prominent nose, missing teeth. His clothes are tattered and gross. There is immediately an odor that reeks from these people. His counterpart, she has a shaved head, minus like a little rat tail in the back. She also has disheveled clothes, missing a few teeth. She has very bushy eyebrows. But their demeanor when they walk up is very calm, very pleasant, and the woman speaks up first and she goes, "You're calling to us? What's you need?"
Teeth!
And they start to like walk alongside the wagon to keep pace with you. "Fucking teeth? What do you mean, man?
Hold on.
You don't want my teeth? I only got a few left. You can't have my teeth."
Who's the most important person you know?
And she just points next to her. To the gentleman. He's all I really have. We only really have each other. Everybody else we know is kind of perished. Look around.
Show me your teeth.
roll me presents.
Again, best stat. +0. It's an 11.
Okay. With an 11, she kind of like stumbles for like stutters for a second and then just goes.
Can I
like,
see the missing teeth?
Yeah, they're about half of their teeth are missing in all various places. They've got a couple molars, they got a couple front teeth, but all in all, there's about half their teeth missing.
Karma. Now, I don't know much about anything. I don't think that the Horned Queen would want somebody's teeth if they have hardly any. Right?
That is a brilliant idea, yes. But if you two have lost everything, and Karma will sort of like just almost seem to levitate toward the edge of the cart closer to them, then perhaps you should dedicate what little you have left to the Horned Queen.
You mean the big scary lady who took over a long time ago and now we just all kind of...
I would like to immediately, like, swinging my elongated arm from way out, I want to forcefully grab her by the jaw with one hand, and grab the top of her head with the other, and bring her in so close to my face, take a big, deep sniff of her teeth, and then in the eyes, I just want to look her with my one eye, and I say, "You speak not of the Horned Queen in this manner, do you?"
And you see the gentleman immediately like start to panic a little bit, and in his panic he kind of like shrugs off the sticks, and they kind of, from the very crude burlap bag kind of spread and clink and kind of fall all over. And she's like, you can sense immediately the panic and the fear from this woman as you grab her face and bring it in, and you smell rot, like straight up rot from her mouth. And
I
she
see
just,
the man shrug all the stuff off. Oi, don't even think about it, mate.
We don't want no trouble. We don't want no trouble. We just...
Oh, you found it, though.
You called onto us, sir. I'm sorry. And she starts to respond to Sephiloth, and she says, I know, it's not like I don't like her, I just never met her. I don't know. I just follow what I'm told, and I don't know her. I don't know her.
And where has following that path led you? Destitute, rotting, and starving. You have heard the words of a heretic, a liar, and a coward. I believe you should glimpse her splendor with your own eyes, and your opinion might swiftly change.
She kind of like her eyes just freeze, and she's in this like as Sephiloth is like holding most of her body weight kind of up by her head, you feel her stiffen, and she is absolutely terrified. The gentleman then speaks up for her and says, all right, we don't want no trouble. What do you want? What do you want? We'll give you whatever we have. And he starts to like try and collect the sticks to like offer them to you. You see that when you grabbed her Sephiloth, the two bundles that she was holding kind of, fell and spread open. One of them were foraged like vegetables, rotten like field onions and potatoes and whatever they could find and scavenge. The other one itself was just bundled blankets and an extra shirt for each of them, just like to have extra clothing if they needed it. But it all goes kind of flying and it's all on the floor now. And he stands there and kind of like is continuously picking up these sticks, and she is still in your hands like stiff as a board.
I kind of like curl over her so that her head is against my chest and my robes almost like cover her.
Yeah, like envelop
And then
her.
I would like to just like moving my head up from this position, look at the man and I say, King Sigfum in Grift, you know him?
Oh, I've heard of him. I've never been that far. That's a trek. I wouldn't survive it. But I've heard of people. Yes, that have gone there. Why? What do you need? What do you know? What do you need?
I look down super fat, like just like reactionary, and I would like to grip a tooth.
Mm-hmm.
And then put my hand on her forehead and pull it out as I let her go. And I want to put it in front of his face and I say, his teeth. And I sniff the tooth and I'd like to pocket it.
Okay. As you grip onto this tooth, she starts to kind of like panic, understanding what you're about to do. And she's just muffling like, oh, please don't. And you rip the tooth from the molar, and she screams in pain and agony. And immediately you feel the body weight that you have been holding onto kind of go limp, like she's just kind of given it into the pain. And you see the blood start to pool in her mouth, and as you continue to hold her there, she's like crying and having this kind of panic state, and he drops the sticks again and goes to like grab the extra shirts and blankets that were in the other bundle and goes to like grab her from your arms. Do you let her go?
Oh, I when I pull the tooth out, I use my other hand to push her weight away
entirely.
as I rip it out.
Okay.
Yeah,
so she's on the ground now kind of writhing, and he goes to like grab her and sticks one of the like shirt sleeves in her mouth to like create some sort of pressure for this wound, and picks her up and pulls her away. And he sets her on the ground and comes back to you all and says, I don't know him, but I know that he has a fascination with skulls and teeth and bones and things. And there's got to be 100 of them somewhere. But the next town over we'll be able to help you. There's a woman. I know her. Her name is Drindala. She helps the town. Your queen, your horned queen. She put her in charge. She'll know much more information. Please. And he goes to like pick up his counterpart once again and pull her away and kind of wait for you all to react.
I would like to like just bend at the waist, like very close to them as he's like dragging her away, and I want to say, speak not of the queen and that man again, or it will be the last thing you do.
I promise. We promise. And you just see her like emphatically shaking her head and kind of crying and chomping onto this this linen shirt that is now just sopped with blood.
I just want to straighten up and drop my arms and turn and begin walking down the path again, like it never happened.
You are muted, Swarm.
Flick the reins and move the cart along.
And as you were kind of walking and talking with a slow sputtered stop as that happened, you kind of kick back, you whip the reins, and continue on your normal pace. We'll say for the next 2 hours or so, 2-3 hours, you go and you travel uneventful. There is really nothing else on the road except for you run into like a little bit of streams and creeks and things if you want to stop for water or anything like that. But besides that, you all trek on for a few more hours until you crest over a bridge, a cobblestone bridge or whatever was left of it. Hopefully, or just so happens enough that you have enough leeway to get through these missing planks with the wagon. And you come across another sign in the road that points straight forward. Once again, it has a bunch of weird, some of the language you can't even speak, you don't even know what it is, they're just glyph writing. Others, you can see our common language, and you see once again Eski with the same glyph, but it's cut in half, meaning that you're just as close. And the one for Grift is the same glyph, saying that you're still a handful of days away.
Shall we rest?
I forget you flesh creatures need to do so often. We can.
Well, we're hungry, and I don't think we should eat the donkey, so...
I wouldn't advise him.
Might be a way to prod an emotion out of Sephiloth.
You don't want to see Sephiloth like that.
Oh, you are very, very wrong.
All right. Rest then.
Yep. Are we pulling the cart off then?
I would like to continue on to Eski, so that I may sleep in a bed.
It makes no difference to me.
I can take over driving.
Wonderful. And we'll stop the cart and jump off and get into the back of the cart and hide under some hay.
I would like to very, swiftly move to where you can step down from the cart and put my hands up in front of Ordain, and I say, "No, sire, I insist. I will continue the drive to Eski."
But Sephiloth, I want to go fast.
Do not go fast with the donkey. The donkey is for weight, not for speed.
Then we need a faster donkey.
If you so choose to purchase a horse.
Not going to purchase shit! And I throw the reins to him and go, bollocks. And I'll just go sit next to the swarm and pout.
Yeah, I get back up onto Germanus and continue the trek forward.
And for the next few hours that you do travel, upon arriving to Eski, Ordain in a sulky, sour mood, the swarm cuddled in some hay, and Karma kind of crawling along the outskirts of the wagon as Sephiloth drives, you start to approach some very interesting terrain. You see as you move from these kind of solid cobblestone dirt roads and grass and few trees here and there, you're now starting to come into more swampy, more muck, more arid land. Everything around you is starting to feel a little bit thicker. The air is a little bit more oppressive. There is a stench of rotten vegetation that just permeates your nose enough to be noticeable but not overwhelming. And as you approach this town, you notice that it is a town, for a lack of a better word, but a lot of the buildings you see upon first glance are dilapidated and falling apart. They're half built and half destroyed, but you see that there are some people milling about in the front of this town, and there is a small sign as you crest over another kind of boarded walkway over these puddles of muck that it says, "Welcome to Eski."
As the sign is within our view, I will kind of read it out loud, kind of leaning towards Ordain. Welcome to Eski. Kind of that I'm reading it to oneself, but loud enough that to make a point for him to look at it and hear what I'm saying.
Is that where we are? Eski.
That's what the sign says.
Thank you.
Since we're coming on a town, Karma will bundle themselves up in the very heavy robes of the Horned Queen to mostly hide their body and pull a hood up, and I will spritz some of my expensive perfume over myself. And I'll just look like a kindly old lady.
Perfect. And as you kind of ride into the roads of Eski, you do see that like a lot of these parts of this town are between these like boarded planks of just wood and thatch and what metals and things that they could find to kind of keep a solid foundation. But a lot of it is like boardwalk to boardwalk. So you get to this little alcove, and beyond this small alcove, you don't think the wagon itself is going to go into the town proper. So you will have to leave your wagon. There are people milling about. You're not quite alone. You see a couple folks a little ways off down on one of the boardwalk planks. You see somebody maybe about 20 yards away from you trying to what you assume is fish. They've got like a rope off of like just a branch, and they're kind of like moving it in the water to see if they find anything.
I'll hop off the wagon.
Should
No, go ahead.
Can we take the donkey with us? Or is it going to be too difficult for him to walk as well?
If you go and inspect and kind of like, if you hop off and kind of look at the width of the horse and look at the width of the boardwalk, you can see that the donkey itself can go with you, yes. It's wide enough for the donkey to go through, but not the cart itself.
We'll hop off the cart as well and keep our, also kind of put our scarf up and keep our muzzle on to hide our mouth. Should we take our new pet with us to wherever we stay, lest he be consumed, stolen?
Certainly.
Sephiloth,
Yes,
bring
I
your ass.
Excuse me, sire.
Jermaine, or whatever his name is.
It's Germanus.
Yeah, whatever it is. Bring it with. I don't want to hear nothing about if any of these folk got it.
I can assure you, sire, should Germanus perish in this town too shall perish.
Swarm scares me when he talks like that.
We would assume you're used to it by now.
You would think. No. And I'll just kind of be looking. I can't read, so I can't follow any signs that would lead me to any such place. But I'll say, why doesn't somebody else take point on this one? I will flank from behind.
I will. Karma will start to shuffle forward very matronly and say, well, if we're looking for a bed so Sephiloth may rest their weary body, we should probably start an inn of some kind.
And as you say that, and you're kind of moving on to where the kind of like the shore would be before you start getting onto like the major plankway system through this town. The gentleman who was fishing, kind of you see he's like wrapped up his pole, for lack of a word. It's just a twig that's about this big with some twine on it that he's just wrapped around a bunch. And you see there's a really kind of god ugly big honking like hook at the end of it. He just kind of throws it over his shoulder. He walks towards the group and he says, you're new here.
Yes.
I could tell. And he points to the cart. If you go down a little further and around the corner, there's a stable, for lack of a better word. You can put it over there. You
Is
can
the
take the donkey
stable
with
safe?
you. Safe as any other place in this town. I mean, we do all right. People here don't really take kindly to hurting good animals, especially good working animals. So go talk to the owner. He'll get you set
Good.
up.
Thank you. And I'd like to guide. I guide Germanus and the cart to the direction this person sent me.
Is anybody else going with Sephiloth, or is he traversing this on his own?
It'll be fine.
I will force Ordain to help me along because I am his grandmother.
Oh, right. All right. And I will just walk and be like, move aside, grandmother.
And you see, so like around the bend, you do see like this cul-de-sac kind of goes around a bend corner that really would not be noticeable unless somebody pointed it out to you. And kind of in this alcove behind this grove of trees is a stable-like structure. You see it only has two kind of components from the back end when you're pulling up that you could see a horse or a donkey could be set in, but there are some makeshift carts around with their donkeys and their horses attached. You do see there is only two horses, and these are the first horses that you have probably seen in a very long time. Horses usually mean people from the Horned Queen's Hollow or from the Reclamation are around, as they are only given to the highest esteemed people for their speed in needing to go
Except
to
for
and
us,
from
we
place.
got a donkey.
Yep, most of the lowly reclamations will get a donkey and a cart at very most. But you do see there are two horses, and probably about two more carts. One has a donkey, one doesn't. And then you see there is a very short, stocky, humanoid figure standing kind of at the edge when you pull around. And they start to approach you before you even stop and say, "Alright, dear, you can just pull it around there." And she kind of motions for you to make a circle and pull up next to the horse cart.
I do so.
Alright, perfect. She kind of comes over and there's like it's like a slab of stone, like very thin shale, and there's like a piece of parchment on there, and she's got like her hand and it's all inked up. And you see them kind of like on their shoulder, they have this like patch, and they keep pressing their thumb and their fingers into this patch and like making motions on this parchment. Alright, so how long are you gonna be staying for?
One night.
Just a single night, alright. And let me just put that there. Okay, and what's your donkey's name so we make sure we don't fuck it up?
It's
Give it away to somebody
Germanus.
else. Germanus. Okay, and you see she picks 4 fingerprints and kind of makes like some symbols with them. and then rolls up the parchment and kind of like puts it in another breast pocket that they have. Okay, well, and you see them like have this expression of exhaustion for what they're about to say, but she goes, "And for the reclamation in the Horned Queen's court, we hereby allow you entry into Eski, and we keep track of your horse and cart, so help us. Horned Queen herself will strike us down if anything comes of it." And she like gives you a bow.
I reply to the bow with, "I can make sure of that."
She kind of like, as she's bowing, looks up at you and just like, "I know, trust me, I know," and like straightens herself back up and starts to move back into the stable unless anybody else wishes to speak to them.
So we're all at the stable at this point?
You're all kind of conglomerating outside the stable. It's like a little like cul-de-sac, a roundabout that goes right back to like that main boardwalk system if you want to go back that way, or there is access to the boardwalk system to get into town from the stable as well.
Look, grandmother, they have fast donkeys. Looking at the horses.
They do indeed, but I believe those are someone else's, so perhaps if they are not around in the morning, we can continue this conversation.
Right. All right, and I'll just say very loudly out loud, I've got a friend here who has a very lengthy, disgusting body in need of rest. So, where would we do that?
And you hear the woman pipe up from behind you again, obviously keying into the group still, not quite letting you out of their sights. She just goes, "Oh, there's a tavern in what you could call a food. Straight into the town, make a left at the first junction, make a right at the second. You'll find it. It's kind of hard to miss."
Thank you. Shall we?
We shall.
Come on, grandmother. Move, or my grandmother will kick your ass. And I will
they
walk
quickly get out
past.
of your way, yeah. You see a couple other people who are around you quickly get out of your way as well and just immediately start dispersing in other directions.
As we're walking, I'll just look at Carmen and go, "Do you have a grandmother?"
I suppose at one point in time I would imagine my mother ate them, like I did with my mother and my sibling.
Right, I know better than to ask questions. And I will just keep walking.
And as you kind of start stumbling into this boardwalk system, you see and kind of notice all around that there are shops and people's homes and things that look very normal, that feel very normal. And as you kind of go into, take a left at the first juncture, take a right at the second, you come across a slightly larger building than the rest of them, and it looks a little bit more, I don't want to say modern, but more put together. It looks like it actually there has been an effort to reclaim this building, to make it whole in some way. There's still some holes and patchiness here and there, but for the most part, this is the most complete looking building that you've seen so far. There's just a crude glyph on the front of a vine wrapping around a tree stump, and there is like a moon and a sun on each side, symbolizing that this is the local tavern.
I walk to the door.
Is it busy?
Sephiloth, are you the first to enter?
Yes.
You kind of push open the door, and immediately you'll see inside about 2 patrons in the front entrance that you can see before you actually like fully walk in.
I walk all the way in.
I'll follow.
I know, the whole, I can imagine how you walk in. You kind of, both you and Karma have to dip into the threshold just a tiny bit, but once you're inside, it opens up a lot larger, and as you all kind of come inside, you see it is very old, dilapidated. The bar is kind of like a makeshift couple tables that have been put together with like makeshift siding and thatch. On the back, where normally you would see a bunch of bottles of liquor, you only see about 4. And there's about, in total, 6 patrons that are inside. It's about 20 feet by 30 feet, so 20 feet wide, 30 feet long. And there's about 6 people at various tables. There's maybe 1 table that has 2 people. The rest of them seem to be pretty solo. And there's 1 person standing behind the bar.
Require a bed.
And they kind of like look up to you, and their eyes go wide for a moment just at the sheer stature of your nature, and they immediately like start fumbling for keys underneath the counter. And this person, short hair, kind of gaunt features, on like the frailer side. They don't look to be strong or any sort of imposing figure. You see them rustling for keys, and they pull out a bunch of different options on a bunch of different key rings. What kind of bed do you need? You're quite a tall fellow. Is it 1 bed? Just 1 room, 1 bed?
I just like kind of turn and look to the
3
rest
beds,
of the party.
please. My
Oh.
grandchildren are so tired.
Oh!
We don't need a bed.
Oh!
Then 2.
2 beds.
What? One room, two beds? 4 rooms, 2 beds? And he just kind of like starts trying to piece together in his
Ordain
mind
will
what the
just
hell is
point
going
at
on.
Sephiloth and go, "We sleep in the same bed."
That's none of my business, but alright. It's gonna be for the night, for... You know what? And he kind of looks at you all again, and a little bit of something that I should have explained before. You all have, like, clear branded signs on either a coat or your whatever material object you possess. It is a branding of the reclamation. So it takes him a second as he's trying to, like, piece the things together, and then looks at you all and sees this brand on one of your attire and goes, "Oh, never mind." And he just sets the keys down on the desk and goes, "Please, take what you want. Whichever room. By all means." And he, like, steps back from the bar top to allow you to approach the keys. And you see that, like, so there's room 1, room 4, room 12, room 16, and 17. Sitting on the table.
First, I think that Sephiloth would have gotten the branding done, like, just right on his throat, already
Perfect.
covered in, like, a lot of tattoos and, like, a lot of black work.
Mm-hmm.
He would have just had it, like, physically hot metal branded onto his throat.
Yeah, then he probably would have seen you first and kind of been like, "Oh, okay, shit."
Also, it's like very apparent that Sephiloth keeps himself on like the brink of madness with the lack of sleep. Eyes like very sunken into his face, stays up for 72 plus hours at a time, and then only naps like in short spurts, and just has himself on the edge of like this potential madness. And I would just grab room key 17.
So 1, 12, and 18 are left.
I will take 18.
We'll take 12, I suppose.
He kind of like looks at Ordain and then back to Sephiloth and back to the key and back to Ordain and back to Sephiloth and then back to the key and like goes to
Why are you
attempt
looking
to
at
grab
us
the
like
key.
that?
You said you sleep in the same bed as him, so I was just making sure you didn't
Is that a
need
problem?
this last key. No, I was just making sure you didn't need the last key. If you don't, I can put it back. So if somebody else needs the key, they can take it.
If I wanted the fucking key, I would have taken it, wouldn't I?
I do not
Don't
you.
speak. All right.
He just
Now,
nods his
did
head.
we take the third key? No. If we want the third key, we would have taken it.
Technically, though, the third key was taken by your scary other friend.
Not by me and my friend here. We like
Oh.
sleeping in the same bed.
Oh, that's true. You did say that.
Right.
And they just, like, put their hand on top of the key and start to slide it back towards them.
Sephiloth, why are people weird about you sleeping at the end of my bed?
It is uncommon, sire.
It's a great way to make a bond with a friend. Sephiloth, get my bags from the wagon.
I'm already moving to the wagon.
Okay. So as Sephiloth kind of, you go out again to retrieve the bags to then bring them back. The innkeeper, kind of goes to grab a couple, they're made out of wood. They're kind of in a coconut shape, but they've been carved out to be drinking containers, and puts a couple on the bar top for you and goes to hand one of the entire bottles of liquor, one of the 4 only bottles, and puts it down entirely in front of you. It has been unopened, undrank from. And he goes, consider it sorry for the assumptions. Hope you have a nice time here.
Apology accepted.
You see his immediate demeanor kind of softens, and is like his breath of stress has left his body.
Swarm grabs the bottle. She's like, drink now, rooms later. Rooms. Drink now.
Drink now.
Drink now. Let's go over to it. We'll move over to a table in the corner somewhere, like the Aragorn table where no one can see us.
Perfect, yeah. As you
My
all kind of
favorite table.
make your way to the Aragorn exclusive table in the back corner, can I have everyone roll me presence?
Absolutely.
Ooh.
That's a 7.
7. What the fuck?
Y'all are on par today.
12.
19.
12, 19? Okay. So Karma, you actually, as your spidey senses, for lack of a better term, Karma's spidey senses tingle. And out of the corner of your eye, you notice as you go to sit in the corner, one of the patrons leaves in a not quite a rushed fashion, but with some intent. They leave with some intent.
Can I follow them?
If you would like to, absolutely.
I will lean to the swarm and say, I shall be back. And I will slink off, just receding further into my cloak, just to be as shrouded as possible.
Perfect, yeah. You slink out from the front of the tavern, and with a 19 you saw as they went out, they turned right. And so you go and you turn right, and you kind of see them now a little ways away. There's a little bit of square town center, and in the center of it is just an empty pit into the muck. You see them kind of diagonal from you in a corner, and they disappear through a doorway on the opposite corner adjacent. And you see the building that they go into is probably twice as big as the tavern, though it is more dilapidated and more worse for wear than the tavern. You see them disappear through a door.
Interesting. And there's no other markings. It's not like a place of business. It's just this rundown building.
There is, you see from where you're standing, it's a little bit difficult to see if there's any writing or anything on the door, because it's probably maybe 200 feet diagonal from you, or 200-300 feet diagonal from you in this court. But you see there is some glyphage on the top, just like the one with the tavern. You do see a glyph that is very reminiscent to your brand.
I would like to go back and say, good news, everyone. Your ever-astute grandmother has possibly found our first stop in the morning. We may have friends in town that I forgot about with my old senile mind.
Friends tomorrow, drink now. I'd probably go to take the cork out, not thinking that we probably shouldn't put our mouths on things, but also forgetting that we have our muzzle on. Go to take it.
Swarm. Can I? And it's a glass bottle.
Yeah. Glass
I
bottle
break
just with
the
a
top
stop.
off
knew
of
it.
it. I just smack the top of it onto the bar.
You see some of the patrons kind of look up from their kind of like half slumbered and half drunken states, and they all just kind of like shiver for a moment. The barkeep kind of looks at you, just with like this questionable, like why the cork removes type of look, but then just
Too much work. And now it's like a game. Pick the glass out. And I start pouring it into little cups. And then I'll take my cup and go, drink now. Swan, can you make your... Can I do tricks? Glass.
You lose.
Shit.
They could, like, what they, what tricks? What do you want them to do?
If you could take them and make them run like that.
Is it in a circle?
Is that what that's called?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I will
A circle.
look into my hood and see if I have any. There's probably at least one or two hanging out back there, and just like speak very quietly to them, and have to them like just gently, not bite each other's tails, but grasp them in their mouths and just do like little figure eights and things around the tables. Just...
I love it.
Shoo them away and like just hold up my cup. Just drink now.
I pour. And while I'm pouring, I'll go, and grandmother, perhaps friends will come to us. And then we all drink now. Sephiloth, if you want one.
No, thank you, sire.
Swarm
Perhaps.
very messily.
Grandmother.
Perhaps they may, but I prefer to do the unexpected visitation. And the glass will just disappear underneath the cloak and come back empty.
All right. I'm all ears. What are we doing?
Well, I figure since I am not burdened by the evolutionary failure that is sleeping, I can set a couple of webs before I need to retreat for the evening. I can know how many come in and out, or at least how many times someone goes in and out. We'll have a rough idea for the morning.
All right. Sounds good. And Ordain will keep drinking and pouring for me and the swarm.
Just mixing with my ooze and just getting everywhere.
Yeah, and at some point the bartender does come prepared with a very interesting looking charcuterie board for you all. The meats and cheeses definitely look ripe, quite ripe. The meat a little oversalted to maintain its longevity. But there are some pieces of bread and a candle if you want to melt any of the cheese or anything of the sort. But he hands out this this meat and cheeses board to you all and says, compliments of Drindara.
Send her our thanks.
Of course. And
Is
just
she
turns,
here?
turns back around. She's always here. She's a protector.
Right. Where is she exactly?
Across the way. In a keep. He points in the direction, Karma, that you would know it is that building that you saw someone going to.
Those would be the friends.
All right, well, I was just turning one off, so I guess that's delayed. We're going to see this Drindara.
She, sorry for interrupting, but, she doesn't usually take guests this late.
Then drink it is. Keep drinking.
It's best to see her in the daytime hours only. And then he turns and will leave you all.
Glass.
It always sucks when you get glass. Well, I feel sleepy. Going to bed. Good night.
Is no one else eating the charcuterie?
I stand up with my head kind of lolling. And I say, I too am going to sleep.
I will take one piece of meat from the charcuterie and eat it and go.
It's very tough, very salty.
I'm a fan of these charcuterie boards. Delicious. And I will walk up, and you will hear as I go up the stairs or to the room, it'll just be like, which one is it? They're all marked with something. And I'm like, I'm shaking locked doors and being like,
I gently guide Ordain to room number 17.
Do you try any of the locks with your key before Sephiloth helps you?
I don't have the key. Sephiloth does. I'm just assuming he unlocked for me.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm like, I'm doing this, and as Sephiloth guides me, I'll just be like, thank God you're here. I just had a panic attack. And I will find my way.
Alright, so Ordain and Sephiloth, have you moved to bed?
Yes.
The Swarm and Karma. What are you doing?
Just look at Karma. Did you want any of this?
No, I prefer my drinks without serrated edges. But thank you.
What about the meat and the cheese? I don't think there's we don't think there's glass in there.
Feel free to eat your fill.
Before you even finish saying that, Swarm is just shoveling, not even getting all of it in their mouth, just storing some of it in the hood and stuff.
Yeah, you see as you are trying to store some of it, some of your rat friends are taking pieces of it and crawling back into your hood, you assume, to wherever they are going to keep all of this extra goodies that you have bestowed upon them.
Amazing. GM, I would, before I retire to my room for plotting, I'd like to traumatize a random person on the streets, please.
Okay.
We don't have to roleplay the whole scenario out, but just for posterity's sake, Karma does do this, where Karma will go out, singing and seeming like a kindly, hunched over old lady, and if anyone gets too close, just jump scare, like full cloak off, like full height, eyes slightly glowing. And I'll just do that to like 3 or 4 people until Karma gets bored of it. I'll just get on my ring.
Yeah, so you kind of like, you're on the outskirts of the tavern. You kind of move into this weird little alcove alleyway right next to it. And you kind of slink up against the black shadows of the buildings and hide from the moonlight. And it is a pretty frequently traveled area. So yeah, that you have no problem scaring as many people as you would like. And if anybody is still sort of awake inside the tavern, you will hear people scream right outside of it every so often until Karma decides that they are bored of the task.
Like 3 or 4 people,
Yeah.
and then I'll go upstairs. I have work, so I can't.
One,
You
yeah,
stay
you see
out too
one's a
late.
couple
I
children,
have
one's
work.
an elderly man, the other is just like the stable hand that was just going home, you know? It's just like people trying to live their daily lives, and one of like the kids fall into the muck and the other one has to pull them out, and like it's a whole little ordeal, but you get your fix, Karma. You definitely get your trauma fix for the
I
evening.
would like to promise one of the children that I live under their bed, like very,
Yeah, like okay, so
very
as
seriously promise.
as
that
one
that
of
is
them
where I
is
live.
pulling the other from the muck, you kind of slink up behind them and whisper in their ear, "I will see you later under your bed." And the kid just drops the other one in the muck again and just runs off, and the other kid's screaming and flailing and pulling themselves up by the ropes that are all affixed within it, just in case anyone does fall into the muck, there is help for them.
This is just incredible white noise for Ordain to fall asleep to.
Just the screams.
It's just
Ambiance.
shh, me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Karma will wrap themselves back up in its robes, and will just go, lovely night, beautiful city," and just like muttering to itself because it's excited now, and it's just like chattering as it goes back to its room.
All right. And Swarm, are you still devouring the charcuterie board?
Probably finishing off as much of the bottle as I can while remaining standing. And then we'll head to our room, take off our hood and make a nice little nest. Are there any mirrors in my room?
Yeah, every room comes with a standard, like, twin-size mattress, bed. These are more so of, like, cots than anything. But there's, like, a little side table. There's a little, like, maybe, like, a handheld mirror. One of those, like, 3x5 little ones that you could pick up. It's nothing big, but it's sitting on the table next to a lit candle.
We'll pick it up and turn it over and look at ourselves in it. Just kind of touching the goo and stuff and just like seeing that it's ever flowing. Placing it back on the side table and then not punching it but just pressing down on it until it breaks under our hand and draws blood. And then just crawling over to our little nest and curling up with our rats and falling asleep.
And as you all find slumber in your own weird little ways, you all complete a long rest and awake the next morning. And as each of you wake, do you go outside first? Do you wait for the group to go down? How do we feel upon waking up the next day?
I would say that Sephiloth sleeps for only like 2 hours, and then would sit up at whatever time that you would say that would be.
Mhm.
And I would like to, with the time I have, look at and examine. Sorry, I'm just pulling it up.
It's all good.
A scroll that I came upon in the library of my home.
Yes. Okay. So you unfurl this scroll that you have found now weeks ago, pressed between a couple books and pages in some tomes that you had pulled from the library. In the tomes that you pulled from the library, you remember them discussing the effects of nature and how to manipulate nature for one's own bidding. Can you roll me... This will be a presence check, because it deals with your perception and your powers. So roll me a presence check to see if you can decipher anything from this.
That is a 14.
All right. With a 14, you remember discussing the ins and outs of manipulating the world around you with Gimli, just because Gimli was there at the time and was there when you found this scroll. And you recall Gimli kind of wiggling up to you and in his weird little way just going, "That's a dead language." And that rings in your head. That it is a dead language. And unfortunately, you don't know how to speak or read that language. But the context that you can gather from studying this and the context of where it came from is that this is very old magic. A dead magic, some would argue. And I will add, you got a 17, right?
A 14.
A 14. Okay. With the 14, you would also understand that it is a dead magic, not because it was outlawed or forbidden, simply because people thought it was lost and eradicated.
Would I have any idea of where I could learn more of this dead language? Or whom may be old enough, wise enough, that I would consider may know something of this?
You can make assumptions once you kind of suss some people out and determine whether or not they have arcane means like you. But nothing is at the tip of your tongue or the tip of your brain being like, this is a place to start. It is very vague in your mind right now where exactly the answers to this question are that you seek. But I will say as well, because you woke up much sooner than everyone else, there is a note slid under your door.
Go to the note and read it.
It's a crinkled paper. It's not neat by any means, but it is sealed with a wax stamp that does have the symbol of the Reclamation, the brand that you all hold. That is the wax seal symbology. And so you kind of open it, crack it open, and you see that it says, "Weary travelers, thank you so very much for bestowing your company on my town. I request your audience at your earliest convenience. Signed respectfully, Drindala of the Reclamation under the Horned Queen."
I will tell him in the morning. And I put it inside my robe.
Eventually, Ordain will awaken. And is there like a jug of water or anything like
Yeah,
next to the bed?
every room kind of comes with one cot mattress structure, a small table, a candle, a small mirror, and then like a wash basin in the corner, or whatever they could provide for a wash basin. There's a jug of water in a bucket, basically.
Right. I would just wake up and find it, bring it close to the bed, and dunk my head into it. All right. Good morning, Sephiloth. And I will get up and begin putting on my armor, and then setting out my different sage and thyme, and begin smoking them, waving them around me in certain ritualistic fashions, and then I will sit down and light 3 candles, and as they burn, I will put my hands over them until I can feel my skin burning, and then I will remove them, wipe them on my face for the blood, then I will take out a dagger that has been carved from a femur with ornate symbols of the reclamation, and I will recarve the double upside down cross. And I will say, the words that they speak are false. The stars can change, and you are the one to change them. Oh, hail the Horned Queen. And I will put my hands over the candles until the burning of my hands crushes the candles to where I can no longer take it, and then I will pack the candles away. Get up, put on the rest of my armor. All right. Shall we meet the others then?
Yes, Ordain, there was a note passed beneath our door.
Give it to me.
I reach slowly into my robe and I say, are you sure you wouldn't rather I read it to you?
I am learning. And I take it, and I'm really desperately trying to see the same markings that I saw on the Welcome to Eski sign.
Yeah, there are some symbols that you recognize. Not any of them really put together in the ways that would make you remember the things that you saw on the sign, but you do recognize some of the characters now. You don't know what they're called, but you
I will fold it, and I will hand it back to Sephiloth and say, pretty fucking rude that they didn't welcome us to Eski. And I will walk out the door and head towards the rest of the party. And the whole time I'm just like, what kind of rude, selfish son of a bitch doesn't welcome us? He's pissed. He's absolutely furious.
I'm like following behind him, trying to explain, like, in the note he does say essentially welcome to his town.
I know what welcome looks like. He didn't say it. They didn't say it. Whoever wrote that note doesn't know good manners. And I will walk out. Is anybody else from the party out in that living area of the tavern?
I will say, as both Karma and Swarm wake up, you also find the same notes underneath your doors.
Gotcha. Karma is likely just as they're coming to, most of their downtime was fraught with dreams of trying to make connections, and I just want to take a second to see if there's any like history check equivalent or anything that I could do to see what I know about that name.
Drindala?
Yes.
Yeah. I will say, because you have a little bit more of a reputation within the higher echelons of the court, since you do spend a lot of the time with the seer, the name Drindala, once you actually sit and spend some time, you do recall that Drindala was put in charge of Eski for the sake of the reclamation, and to make sure that all towns within the Horned Queen's empire all had someone in place of power that would answer to her. specifically. And
Oh,
Drindala
so-
is one of the people who resides over Eski.
So I get to do a peer review, is what you're saying.
Basically,
I get to go back to the Horn Queen and be like, Mom, this city's on that bullshit. Fun. Karma is very excited at this prospect and would likely open the door and begin crawling along the ceiling and then realize I probably shouldn't scare people in the daylight and will walk until I meet up with my lovely compatriots.
And what about the swarm? How did they wake up and get ready for the day and find the note?
Woke up, checked our hand to see that it pretty much already healed. Just collected the hood, shaking out crumbs, picked up the note. It is what it is. Took it and slid it into the journal that I keep, and we'll just head down to the tavern area so we can start journaling our dreams from last night.
Wonderful. And as you all kind of make your way back down to your Aragorn table, you see that it has already been prepared with a makeshift breakfast. There are some bread rolls, some slop that you would assume is like egg, and some veggies, maybe potatoes thrown in there. There's definitely some rotten onions, but it kind of works with the mix of everything. Like a big scramble bowl has been kind of prepared for you all that sits there with small individual plates. There's another bottle of liquor there for you as well with cups, and it's already kind of preset for you with another small little tent propped note. And as you approach it, all it says is, enjoy. There's no one else in the tavern right now. Bartender's gone. Patrons are elsewhere. You all come down and you are the only ones in here.
Swarm's gonna slide into the booth and like whip our journal open and then start scrawling in it and just like reach into the scramble pot and just like start eating out of our hands whatever it is we grabbed.
Ordain will walk over and sit next to the swarm. We got a letter.
What did it say?
I don't know, but it sure as shit didn't say welcome to Eski. What's this?
I would like lean over and I quietly recite what it said.
Sephiloth, why didn't you tell me it said that earlier?
I am sorry, sire. I will try better in the future.
Now, is this like scramble with egg in it?
Yeah, you can definitely tell the eggs have started to go a little worse for wear, and they were like, oh, right, we got to make all of these. So there's more egg than anything else in there. But you do find some potatoes, some onion, a little bit of the cheese that was left over from what they gave you last night. It is basically just like a kitchen sink meal where they just tried to make whatever they could for you.
I prefer my eggs extra aged. As in chicken. So I will eat the potatoes. And kick my feet up onto the kind of tabletop. And we'll just kind of recline with this small bowl of potatoes and be like, so when the fuck are we going to meet this Drindola?
Very soon, I thought we might discuss. Drindala is a conduit, an extension of Her Eminency, meant to reel this town in, as it were. It's been functioning under her jurisdiction. If she tells you she does not know where the man is or where we can find him, she is lying. And even if she's telling the truth about not knowing where he is, we should treat it as a lie, because she should. Comments, questions, peanuts, scramble?
Why would she lie?
That's a good question. I don't know why fleshy creatures do most of the things they do.
I'm starting to think that you mean fleshy creatures as an insult.
You can take it as a compliment.
2 for 2, Sephiloth. 2 for 2. You'll get a compliment soon. If I deem you worthy. All right, I'm done with my taters. And I will stand and just wait for everyone to finish.
You tatered these tots in-house?
Who tatered these tots, DM? Who tatered the dang tots?
You don't know who tatered the tots. The barkeep's
I'm on the
not
hunt
here,
to
so
find it.
you have no idea.
All right,
Ordain's
party,
just
we're
walking
changing
around.
objectives.
Who tatered these totes?
To no one, to a
Fucking
group of no
perfect.
one.
Wonderful. Yeah, I would just wait for everybody else.
I'm ready to go whenever.
Pack my journal away into my bag. Are there any potatoes left in his bowl? Did you finish them, or are you just done with them?
No, I left 3 of them.
I'll reach and grab them.
You see, right before you put your journal away, Swarm, as you kind of put the last flourish, last punctuation mark before you close it, you see that 2 words appear underneath where you just wrote. Simply, thank you.
Is it
It's real.
wet? Is it wet though?
Yeah, if you draw your finger across it, it smudges the entire line before the line is rewritten underneath. Thank you.
Close it, tie it up, and put it away, and just. Is anyone going to drink now or drink later? 'Cause I'll take it so we can drink later.
Can't drink now. It will upset my tummy.
We'll put it away, and we'll put it in our bag.
All right. Come on, friends. Let's meet this person. Shall we? And I will head out, not knowing at all where I'm going, and will walk into the street and go.
Without breaking stride, Karma will just grab the edge of your cloak and pull you.
Yeet.
Perfect. And as Karma is kind of guiding everyone around to the building that they saw someone slink into the evening before, as you approach the building, you see now, like I had said before, it is about twice the size of the tavern. However, it is clearly more dilapidated and worn. The roof on the right-hand side is completely missing and just kind of thatched over at this point. There's holes in the walls, but the portcullis itself is very pristine. The wood itself, you can tell, is not from around here. And as you approach, it automatically opens.
Witchcraft.
They're expecting us.
Sephiloth, do you have any teeth for me?
I just like lean in and open my mouth.
All right, close your mouth. It's disgusting you didn't brush your teeth. I will use them if I must. Through the witchcraft doorway, then. And I will gently... That's not the right word. Yep. Right on in.
just a little jaunty. Yeah. Okay, so as you follow Ordain inside, him jauntily striding forward, you are met with a immediate smell of burning incense and sage and thyme. Ordain, it is very similar to the ritual kind of like thatch and twine bundles that you use for your morning rituals. It's the same sort of element, but there's something that's slightly off, something added to it that you're not familiar with. And the smell immediately hits you like a wave as you enter this abode, and you see on the walls there are thick vines and brambles and kind of like this mucky fungus that is growing all over the place that every once in a while breeds like a beautiful like yellow flower, a sickly yellow flower. And you see as the entire room is kind of encapsulated in this like overgrowth. In the middle of it, you see very calmly sitting just at a table writing on some parchment is a womanly figure. She stops for a moment and puts her quill down and looks up at all of you, and you see that she sits in her chair above the desk is about 4 feet, so standing you can assume she's around 6 or 7 feet tall, and she is very humanoid in appearance, but you can see time and environment have shaped this person wholesomely. They have thick, kind of twisted, brambled hair that is in dreads that kind of wraps around their head, and in between it there is that same vine that is growing on the wall, growing within, with these little flowers that peek out. And their entire mantle and clothing is this rotted fabric, but in a way that where the rot and the fabric work together to create these beautiful, intricate designs. And you see as you go from her face, her shoulders, her chest is skeletal with the same kind of vegetation growing on it and kind of encapsulating this figure. She sits and looks up at you all and says, "Ah, so I have seen that you've got my letter. Good. Come in, please. Sit. Make yourselves comfortable."
I will both go in, sit, and make myself comfortable.
And as you all see yourselves kind of moving into these locations, there's not anywhere to sit until you look down, and there have been these crafted kind of like wooden, brambled, mucky bean chair almost, like beanbag chair almost seats. And when you sit in them, they're mossin, so you kind of sink into them slightly, but they have kind of popped up from the floor beneath you as you sit. Yeah, like you definitely sink way like uncomfortably far into them, and she's kind of imposing where she sits, even though like you're
Why
supposed
didn't
to
you
be
welcome
at angle.
us to Esky? Sorry. I don't say that. I'm silent.
Okay. So I'm assuming that you all got my letter. Because of that, you are here. So welcome, more of my reclamation friends. Please tell me, how does the travels care for you on the road? Was it easy to get here?
Good signage.
Accurate signage.
Oh,
A bit
good.
dull.
Unfortunately, some of my workers are not the most creative in that manner, but we do okay. The signs have been helping. We're trying to get more people to come through the town. As you can see, we need many hands to help rebuild over the time that has been lost. But,
Indeed.
I also sighed a whole lot on the way here.
Is that so?
Yeah, everybody's saying that they sighed. I sighed as well. I went, oh, when are we going to get there? I too had a lot of sighage.
I'm sorry to hear about your sighage. I will try to keep that in mind for the next time we go about the roads to fix them here. But
Much appreciated.
I find you to be here at my most needed, should I say. As fellow members of the Reclamation, I do need some of your help should you have time to impart it to me.
Truly. And what do you need our assistance with?
Well, as you can tell, the town is not where it should be and has fallen ill to the environment for quite some time. When the town was being rebuilt, we did not realize that there is a town underneath it.
And she kind of like looks down and then back at all of you.
Below us, there is another civilization that we were unaware of started to form before Her Majesty's rule. Because of that, it has been some issues for us to get things in order, if you are following me.
Yes.
There is a man who is the leader of his people down there. His name is Rixa. They are very unlike us. They do not move or talk in the ways that we do, so it is very hard to communicate. But I have sent many of my people down there to try to make amends and try to come to some sort of agreement. But unfortunately, none of them have returned. You see, I do not impart in the violence of the world. I maintain order. And that's why I have been sent here to maintain order. But as you see, my order has been disrupted. And I take a high offense to that.
As you should. I do agree with your natural leaning inclination, believe it or not, however. Anyone who could organize an entire city while living under one going through governmental upheaval is a resource not to be immediately put to the blade. These people should be controlled, shown that the way of the Horned Queen is the true way of this world.
And that is why I am hoping you will impart your time to try and help bring some sort of agreeable notion between these two towns. I do not wish to move them permanently unless that is the need. I would like to work together. Maybe we can come to some sort of compromise should they be willing to be under the watchful eye of Her Majesty. Like I said, I do not impart in the violence, but I will have others impart it for me. If you feel up to the task of trying to meet with this Rixa and going to Sasten below us, I can get you there, but beyond that, I do not know what to expect. I refuse to go there myself.
Lucky for you, I'm fluent in violence.
You
We'll
see
take
her
care of
crack
you.
a smile at that.
Right. Sephiloth, are you up for a little killing?
Yes, if it is your wish.
Swarm.
Violence now.
Violence now. Karma, I think. Yeah, violence.
How did you guess?
It's like a hunch or a feeling. Either way.
But I should warn you, from what I am told of Sasten, it is difficult to traverse their lands unless you are part of their culture and are made and created like them. The only understanding that I have is that they have been evolved. They are not like you and me. So I ask that you prepare. It will cause me great shame to lose members of her royal court for asking to do this deed.
So when you say you're not evolved, you're almost 7 feet tall. All of them are, and I mean no disrespect, freaks of nature. I seem to be the only not evolved one here. So I don't think we're very afraid of these evolved creatures. Everything can bleed.
Everything can bleed, yes.
Or at least most things, I hope. Do you require anything before you feel like you are ready to traverse? I have very limited means, but I can do what I can.
There is one thing I could think of, but I do not know if it is in your purview. You say these lands are hard to traverse if you are not from them. Sounds like a guide would be most helpful.
I can bring some along that has at least seen Sestan, has traveled there but not too far in. Once you are in and you get stuck, it is very hard to get out unless you know exactly where you are going. They know how to get in and get out, but past getting in fully, you will probably be left alone. They will wait for your return to bring you back.
We can manage. Thank you. This was a far more pleasant conversation than I was expecting to have, to be honest. I thought I may have to remind the leadership of how things are functioning, but you are quite competent indeed.
I try my best. Many of my people will say that I am not only the caretaker of Eski, but of the entire forest as a whole, but I have seen and met the caretaker herself, Mother, and I am not her. But I allow my people to think I am, for I do not wish them to ever meet Mother themselves. My hopes is that if you can find some way to compromise, if some sort of peace treaty can be made between us and Sestan, maybe then I can reach out to Mother to make sure that you have a safe passage through the rest of the forest here, the swamp.
Wonderful repayment, I believe.
And she looks to the rest of
Sephiloth.
you to see if you agree.
And Karma will specifically point out, Sephiloth, is there any part of this that rings falsely to you? Or poorly?
Not in specific, no.
Good. I think this will be a good place to start.
All right. And as she kind of steps up from her desk, she now is at her full height, and you see her robes extend to the ground, once again eaten by the same vegetation and fungal bramble mixture. And as she kind of starts to go towards the door to escort you out to the gates of Sestan, that's where we're gonna take our break. So, we're gonna be back, folks, in about 5-10 minutes, probably about 10 minutes, because I have to go pee and let my dog out real quick. But we're gonna be back in like 10 minutes here to continue this story. Don't go anywhere, but get yourself a drink and a snack. And oh, we have a raid, so we're gonna say hi to the raiders coming in real quick. Hi, raiders from Murder Hobos and Chocobros. I really like that name. Thank you so very much for coming on in with your community. We're about to take a little 10-minute break, and then we'll get right back to the RP. So stick around, hang out, and we'll be right back, folks. All right, everybody, welcome back. Thank you for hanging with us through that break. Before break, we sat down and everyone got to meet Drindala, the person in charge here in Eski from the Reclamation, picked by the Horned Queen herself. She has told the party that there is a little bit of an issue with the town that is directly underneath Eski. Apparently, there is a gentleman who is the leader of this town called Sesten that is causing some chaos and causing some people under her rule to go missing. So we pick back up now. Drindala has risen from her seated position and guided you all to the door, out the door, and is now guiding you towards the back of the town. Towards the back of the town, you see that there is a little gated section where it's like a circle gate, and in the middle of it, as you are starting to approach, is literally just a fall pit. It's just an open black pit, probably about 10, 12 feet wide in diameter. And she brings you up to it. There are 2 guards that are posted at this gate to go into this hole. And she brings up and waves aside the 2 guards as they open the gate for you. And there's probably about like maybe 10 feet between the gate circumference and the whole circumference. So you got like about 10 feet of a gateway around the entire thing to kind of traverse and look inside of it. But she leads you inside and says,
This is the gateway to Sesten. My guard here, he can help you. Like I said, get in and get out, but he will not go farther past the entrance inside.
and he kind of just like tilts his like makeshift armored hat at you guys. Says, "Hello, I am Brickk."
Don't believe I asked. You can lead the way, though.
Kind of just nods at you and turns, and from like where the gate is, you see him kind of like grab and drag over a massive kind of rolling rope ladder that he unfurls. You see it's chained to the side of the fence, and he kind of pushes it over the 10 feet and then lets it fall as you hear it go into the expanse below. And he starts to simply hurl himself over the side and is cresting down the ladder rings. Are you following?
Ordain's following.
Before I reach the ladder, I would like to use Initiate of the Invisible College and summon D2 scroll.
Okay, so roll me a d4. On a 1 and a 3, you'll get 1. On a 2 and a 4, you'll get 2.
2.
2. All right. So as you kind of take this moment before you traverse down, what does it look like when you use this power?
I pull my sleeves up and holding my hands together in front of me, I just almost make a motion to undo a scroll in the air, and it just happens. Like from nothing comes like this unfurling of a scroll.
Beautiful. Can you roll me a d10 twice?
Thanks. 10.
Okay. And the second one?
9.
Okay. So do you have the rule book open if I tell you the spell name? Or do you want me to tell
I
you
have
the whole
the player
thing?
manual. Hold on, let me pull up
Yeah.
the rule book.
Yeah, if you go to the scroll page, you get the death scroll, as well as Costco's consuming glare.
That's all right.
You rolled good. You rolled good. So so as this happens and these scrolls manifest, you see Drindala kind of looks over to you and she has this wide grin on her face and she goes, I knew there was something special about you. When you come back, if you come back, which I hope you do, we should talk.
I looked at Drindala and stuffing these scrolls into my robe, I say, there will be no if.
That is the
And
attitude I like.
Be down.
I
As this interaction
nastily
is
climb down
happening,
this rope ladder.
before you go down before me, I would just, akin to the trailer of like Thor Love and Thunder, where Thor's just like this, I'd be like, get your own, squire.
She kind of like looks at you with a little bit of shock and surprise and says, trust me, I do not need a new squire. I have a whole town of them. I will not take him from you, I promise. I'm merely curious to see the extent of his abilities.
Sephiloth, get down the hole. And I will jump onto Sephiloth's back and kind of go down, like feet almost pushing on the shoulders. I'm separate, but like on top, following down, going a little too quickly.
You're going like way faster than you should be because
right. You're like
because my arms are. I'm extending my arms all the way and then reaching down and grabbing the next furthest rung that I can.
Yeah, it's like
grab.
an orangutan climbing
Like,
down
I'm just,
this
like-
ladder. Oh, that's so
Perfect.
scary looking. That's so scary
What
in
a
my mind.
fucking freak. I love
Oh, I
it.
love it. All right. You actually like surpass Brock at one point. You just kind of like your long arms carry your body over his, and you just kind of like, what the fuck is that? You know, like, and then, so you all in your own way. Swarm, are you following as well? Are you crawling down the ladder? Okay. So as you all kind of skitter down the ladder in your own ways, you come to the bottom, and immediately you kind of feel the difference between above and now your introduction to below. And as Brock kind of sets himself straight, as you put your first feet into the damp and sullen earth below, it sinks in, and there is about 2 feet before you feel a solid earth again. The muck is thick. It is more sludge than water, but it does move very easily if you try to maneuver through it. Though it is a little difficult in legs who are not used to traveling with some force back at them, you're gonna get sore. But Brock takes you and starts moving you forward to this massive kind of portcullis made of swampen earth and dead debris in vegetation that has been kind of growing and sliming all over each other. And can you roll me all presence checks, please?
6.
17.
17.
18.
18.
That is a natural one.
Alright. So for the 2 that rolled above a 13, you notice as you get closer to this portcullis that a lot of the structural components that keep this held aloft are that of dead, rotting bodies that are twisted and mangled in all forms to create this archway. And Brock stands in front of it and goes, "This is where I leave you. I do not go past the archway. But that is
You guided
sustained.
us down the ladder.
That is what I was instructed to do.
Do you get paid?
My life is my payment. Keep my life." I don't know why I keep going to this accent.
Brock is now just a normal person. But he says, my life is my payment.
I'll just turn and look at the group and look at the hole we just climbed down from and go,
It's about 30, 40 feet deep. It's a pretty lengthy hole.
right, but I know how to climb down a ladder.
You asked
We have
for
more
a guide.
pressing things, Ordain.
Right. And I will go through, and if I see one of the arms with the hand kind of in the archway, I'll go,
Okay,
Amazing.
so Brock kind of takes his place back at the bottom of the ladder. He has not gone up yet because he has promised to make sure you all reach the above safely. But as you go to slap the hand, what you think is stiff actually becomes loose, and the arm just falls behind you as you slap it out of this archway.
Hits me in the face.
sorry.
All the dead bodies remind me of home. Someone's a very nice interior decorator.
Right. And I'll just pull out my hammer, my war hammer. Let's find this fucker. And
Indeed.
see what we can find out about these people. Seston. And I'll continue walking.
As you continue walking past this archway, the light gets dark very quickly. Do any of you have a means of providing light?
I do. I would like to light a torch with my fire steel.
Of course, and you do so. You have one torch being held by Sephiloth that gives you
I hold it-
approximately a 5-foot radius of light, dim light.
Yeah, I hold it like with my arm way up in the air, as to like give us a true
Yeah.
radius.
Absolutely, yeah, that does help. It creates, the shadows are a little bit more diminished in your immediate walking, so you do get a little bit more of that atmospheric glow. And you see that as you kind of hold it aloft, your gangly arms, you are a tall creature, but as you hold it aloft, you see as you pass through this archway, it kind of dips lower like a natural gradiating hill, and you look up and it is cavernous. You can't see the top of where this goes. You can only see within the 5 feet radius of the one torch. Does anyone have any other form of light, or is this all that we are using?
I have another torch. So I can light mine.
I
Some kind
believe
of-
I have.
Yeah, whatever means you would like. I imagine you kind of reach towards Sephiloth to bring his arm down to light your torch.
Yes, yeah.
Alright, so
And
now
I'll
with
hold it
these
with one of
multiple
my-
torches, I will say that since there are more than 2 torches, you guys have a pretty decent grip on the area now. The light is traveling all over, and you do see that it is a gradiating hill into kind of like this expanse that's very similar and matches to what you remember Sesten looking like, this boardwalk, piecemeal type of existence to get from one place to another. But this one is reeking of death, specifically. The rot is present. It is disgusting, but the scent of death itself is the thing that really permeates your nose. And the sounds of dripping stalactites and stalagmites kind of echo throughout this chamber. And there is one single path out from where the archway is, moving to the left and then around another bend. But that is the only path that you see.
Well, if it's the only path we see, there's no point in delaying the inevitable.
Right. I charge in with my torch.
Oh,
All
Yeah,
right, so-
I quickly fall behind him.
Okay. So
You would think if there's a fucking city down here, there'd be a fucking city down here.
And as you say that and kind of with a swift motion run around the bend, you see that it once again kind of dips a little bit lower, but opens up to where you see more light. It's a little bit more lit, and you see there are now torches on the wall. And as you crest through this bend, you actually roll me a agility.
All right. One.
Only Ordain?
Okay. Ordain is the first one that kind of moved through first. Is there somebody who is immediately following him, like at his back, or are you a little bit ways?
Nut to butt. I'm
okay.
Right behind him.
Perfect. No, then this is perfect. He's the only one I'm gonna make roll for this. You burst around the corner so fast that you actually trip over a kind of root that has embedded itself within the path, and you fall face first, inches. Literally the top of your body falling more over the edge than the rest of you, so you can catch yourself in a very quick glance if you would need, or the people behind you can hopefully grab you. But there is a ledge with a 20-foot drop in a very steady pathway that you have now crested over and almost fallen on the side.
So I'm like,
you're like hanging on the side of this right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and then fall, and I'll try and grab the side. Sephiloth, for the love of the gods, what are you doing?
Roll me another agility check.
Well, if as soon as I notice things happening, I would like to shoot both of my hands down, dropping my torch, and grab the back of his pants.
Roll me strength.
That's an 11.
Okay.
I'm unnaturally strong. 17 plus 1.
Perfect. Okay, so as you are kind of slipping off the side of this cavern, and you kind of brace yourself with your one arm to keep you aloft and not your body falling to kind of fold into it, you feel very quickly these two arms grab onto your ankles near your calves and hoist you back, and kind of you scrape, your underside, and you're gonna have like one of those like you fell and scraped your chins. You're gonna have a chin raspberry for a little while, definitely from him pulling you back very forcefully. But he does so. He pulls you back, and you are allowed to stand. Unfortunately, Sephiloth, the torch that you had lit is now dead.
I'll just get up and go, damn it, mate. You pulled too damn hard. I got a raspberry.
And as you kind of all stand up and get your bearings once again, you see that, yes, it is an 8-foot wide path that is on the side of a cavern that goes down about 20 more feet. And that itself kind of circles and goes down once, and you can see it enters into, as you're standing on the side looking down into this cavern space, you see a town, a city, wrought with this decay, this vegetation that was growing in the above, now descending into the below. You see the roots coming from the ceilings itself. You see the vegetation, the mold and fungus growing on the sides of the cavern wall as you traverse this stone ramp down towards the main entrance of the town. The town itself, in between its little boardwalks, like Eski, have these tall, spindly, what you would assume are trees. But those who have seen the archway very quickly realize that there are dead bodies hanging in between all of these trees and brambles, hoisted in little nests and cocoons on each of these trees, which, Karma, you very much understand how they are hold so tight. But you crest down this ramp, and the town opens up, and you see humans? ? You see these moving, brambling mounds of flesh and vegetation with no discernible human features besides the shape of them. They look like they have 2 arms, a head, 2 legs. But they look like they have been evolved to add this vegetation to their skin to build themselves up to these creatures. There's about maybe 3 or 4 of them that look to you all very peculiarly as you come down this final ramp space into the beginnings of the town.
If anybody wants to talk, now's the time to do it, because I'm about to start swinging.
I think Karma will step forward and say, well, I suppose out of everyone, I'm the most well inclined. And just moving forward, I want to make sure that the emblazoned crest of the Horn Queen is very visible. And I will. Is there any like reaction or anything from
As
the
you start to
symbol?
move closer,
Mm-hmm.
you see that, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine Karma kind of strolling in that matronly style and like moving something aside to make the brand very visible in a very just fluid, effervescent motion. And as you do that, you do see 2 of them turn to one specific one that is in the middle of the 2 and push him forward and kind of like push him forward towards you. And he like almost tries to fight back his friends before kind of giving like a sigh of acceptance and turning towards you. And in very broken common, you hear,
What you want?
Greetings. We come here to share with you, pitiful creatures, the splendor of the Horned Queen. You are part of her kingdom. You live under her grace and her eminence. A reason to rejoice and to cease the childish resistance to the good people who run this city in her grace's name.
You're talking about the Surfiends, right?
and they point
Yes.
upwards.
The Surfiends have
Indeed.
done nothing to us but destroy. Why would we want to accept their rule? Why would we care?
Because if you don't, I'm gonna destroy the lot of you. That's why.
And
see-
I
Go ahead.
I wish for you to understand that the monsters who tore down your once good city, they have been eradicated. Recently, the commotion on the surface, the changing of the guard, the changing of all the sigils, this sigil, and I'll point to the crest, we are under, let us call it, new management. A new regime. And if you bend the knee, I will not have to, what did you call him, Swarm? Jab you with the tip of the spear.
That is not for us to decide. We only hold keep over the gate. If you wish to speak of things of this manner, you must meet with Brickk. He is the one who helps decide our fates down here in the below.
Then could you be kind enough to guide the way?
And you see the other 2 humanoids for the sake of them. You see them kind of look to each other with what you would assume is some sort of fear. It's very hard to make out their body language from the mass movements that it makes. But you see the one that has been speaking to you kind of taking a huge breath release it, and turns on his heels and starts guiding you into the town proper. And as they guide you in, and a lot of you following, it takes a few minutes because it is hard to traverse. You see as these creatures move through this muck and debris that they move with ease, like butter on toast, where you all are trying to have to climb and make your way through this muck. Even on these makeshift pathways, it's still about a foot tall onto your calves. And it takes a few minutes, but they lead you to this opening where it is solid earth. It is a piece of elevated land. And they bring you up to it, and at the top, sitting there, is a very large creature, reminiscent to the ones that you had seen before and some that you have seen moving about within the town as you are escorted through. But this one is clearly twice the size. Another 7-8 foot tall, approximately 400-pound creature. They have a spiky kind of fish fin that has erupted from the top of their, like, right in their forehead all the way down their back, and have 2 fish gills that kind of come out from their neck. Their arms are like tentacles made of vine as they slither and move and rise to meet you all. The one who led you here softly bows to the creature before you before turning, and especially making sure Karma here says, "Good luck," before disappearing back from whence they came. Creature stands before you, now standing. "Why have you disrupted me this day?"
To correct a misunderstanding.
What misunderstanding would that be?
You seem to have some misgivings about who exactly runs the town within which you reside and the one above you.
Are you referring to that beast you revere as a queen?
Ooh. Karma will start glowing and say, "Mind your tongue, wretch, lest it be ripped from you. Be warned that I may be the only creature standing in front of you who would not rather dismantle you and feed you to the dogs."
May I ask you a question?
Please.
One I hope resolves in an honest answer. Did you know that we existed before today? Did you know of our lineage? Our history? Do you know anything of the land that you stand on?
I know that it belongs to the Horned Queen.
And who did it belong to before her? And before them? And before them?
Doesn't matter. It all smells like shit.
And they turn to you, Ordain. But it does matter. You see, you serve fiends. Come demanding things of which you have no understanding of. Commanding powers of which you do not respect.
have been forgotten and left forgotten for many a century. It is only until your supposed queen that they have demanded things from us we cannot give. Loyalty means all to the Caxian people, and we do not bend the knee to someone unless they earn it. You see, and they turn to Sephiloth. Do you understand where this one gets his powers from? Do you understand the nature of things beyond your means? Or do you pervert it like everything else?
Can't speak for everyone. I don't know how the fuck he does what he does. I get the pleasure of doing something far different.
Would you like to know where it comes from?
Sure.
You see, long ago when the lands were created, Mother and Father bestowed a gift to the land. Essence. It was a property to make sure that the balance between chaos and order was always fighting one another. The essence is what you pull from when you read your scrolls and cast your magics in perverse ways. That essence is siphoned from a source. It is not endless. And when you fuck up the essence, you drain a life. And he kind of looks around at all of the dead bodies that are encased in these trees. What do you do when the order of the world has been disrupted and neither side can realign?
You establish a new order. Just like what has recently occurred. You speak in philosophy and spiritualism. I am here to speak facts to you. If your people, if their history, if your culture matters to you, you will not let so many of your kind die because you are too proud to bend a knee.
It is not pride that makes me not bend the knee. It is survival. You do not understand the workings of below. You think we are the only people of this stature. You are severely mistaken. We are not the only ones who reside under the surfings. And if I am correct, the only reason why your queen has been so determined to eradicate us is because they themselves do not know how many of us there are. And as they say that, you do see some heads start popping up below of these creatures coming out and showing themselves and encapsulating this dais that you are all standing on from below. We do not wish violence or harm. We surely seek to inform. You see, my people are kind, are sick. There has been too much essence siphoned into the surface. And because of that, we are dying. You see your precious queen and her court, Dwendala and Mother, do not care for us. We have never been cared for, so who cares for the uncared? Who
Not
fights?
me. Not even close. Now you can sit here and sob all you like, or we can get on with the deal where I climb up your fucking nasty body and I jam my thumbs right into your eyeballs and watch them rip out the back of your skull. You think I give a shit about anybody in this shithole? Not by a long shot, mate. I'm here because she sent me. And if you're telling me you're weak and dying, I'll be the nail in the coffin. How's that sound, you blubbering twat?
See, as you say this, 3 other of these creatures that are smaller than Rixa fall in line, spears in hand, as Rixa reach behind him to a tree and snaps it with one hand, the dead body falling off like a rotten skewer, as he then holds it in front of his body. I guess we will find out who becomes the victor now, won't we?
I guess so.
And Sephiloth, what would you like to say?
How far away is this group of individuals?
You're standing kind of on the edge of the dais while they're standing on the other end. You're approximately about 10 feet away from each other.
All area.
Yeah. Like you, the 4 of them, and then the 4 of you, there's maybe about 2 foot gap between where like the 2 half circles meet. And you both are literally on the edge of the dais, both groups. And I think that is where we're gonna pick up next episode.
All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna make this really quick.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I love Mork Borg. I love you. I love you all. I have to go because my son is screaming in his sleep, and we have to calm him down.
That is entirely okay. Thank you very much, John, for playing with us today. Well, we can do your little wrap up and tell people where to find you and what's going on. So don't. worry about that.
Just Big Man Play Game wherever you want to find me. If you want to find me, I'm mostly post on TikTok. That's it.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you so very much, John.
Okay, love you guys.
Bye. You guys, bye. Whew. Okay. All right, so I always don't know how to end these things and be like, so, hey guys. But thank you everybody for hanging out with us for episode 2, Monachopsis of the Horned Queen Chronicles. Before we go around and do outros, I'm gonna let everybody know some really cool sponsor information for here at the Initiative Order. Session 0 clothing, D&D inspired streetwear, very, very cool. I'm pretty sure they just released some new designs. Check them out and use the code ORDER, ORDER, at checkout for 15% off. We also have a code for Norse Foundry, artisan dice makers. They make beautiful, absolute gorgeous dice. Use TIO15 at checkout for 15% off. Mithril Armory, makers of amazing tin 20s and sketch dice. Use code INITIATIVE for 10% off their web store. And then Umbral Oculus Dice, handmade custom dice by TIO's very own Taryn, who, if you don't know, runs the Dune campaign, I'm pretty sure. Go check them out and check out their store with code INITIATIVE for 10% off a full set of dice in their store. So heck yeah, got a bit of little wheels and deals for ya before we go around. Let's go backwards again. Let's start with D. D, who are you? Where can people find you?
Hi, my name is D. I'm all over the place. I cause trouble on the internet. I am your and everyone else's universal TTRPG champion. You can find me all across the internet causing problems, but the best place to keep up with all my shenanigans is twitter.com/itstheriddler.
Perfect. And we'll move on up to Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel Beauregard. You can find me Sugarpunk in the chat on Twitch. I've got a stream coming on TIO in the fall. I can't say much more about it, but it'll be another regular stream. It's going to be great, also dark. You can find my geeky and gay designs on Instagram at Bad Death Design. You can follow my personal at Manic Pixie Tank Girl. You can catch me in season 8, episode 9, I think, of Discovery Plus See No Evil. You can message me about my spicy newsletter if you want access to that. But yeah, happy to be here. I look forward to this every other week. So dark, so lovely. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. I love playing with you. I love playing with everybody here has been so great and so awesome in this campaign so far. And we'll bring it over to Trevor. Trevor, where can everyone find you?
Hi, everybody. I'm Trevor. I am the creative elder brain of Dungeon Hunters, where I run a bunch of stuff there. We are about to embark in 2 weeks. Not this Saturday coming up, but next Saturday. We have the Ember Guard campaign part 2. The first 15 episodes are live on our YouTube at youtube.com/Dungeon Hunters, and you can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/DungeonHuntersDND, and we got a lot of cool stuff that we're working on, and I'm really excited about it. And you can find me at any of Dungeon Hunters' social media. If you look up Dungeon Hunters, you will find it.
Wonderful. We love to hear it. And I am your humble, neighborhood-friendly storyteller and narrative, Brickk, or with a brick everywhere on the interwebs with 2 Ks. Yeah, I stream sometimes. I have Patreon. I run games. I write things. I do a lot in the space. So follow me on my socials if you want to see anything that I'm doing. And if you're interested in seeing some of the pictures and some of the things that I've created for this campaign that I only show my characters or my players, you can subscribe to my Patreon, where I will be posting all of the references, all my notes and everything for each campaign episode. So if you're interested in seeing any of my process, you can go follow it there. But that is gonna be it for us today in the land of Tveland and in the Horned Queen's Court. Thank you so very much, everybody, again, for being a part of this. I'm trying to find someone to raid, but I don't see anybody that's live that's playing tabletop games unless somebody's got a recommendation. But I would like to take this party somewhere else and spread the wealth. I don't see anybody on right now, so we might just have to... Trying to see if anybody's streaming from the community. Hold on, guys. I'm so sorry. I don't wanna. Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody. That's okay. Normally we'll raid somebody, but unfortunately nobody's really live from the community right now. So, we're gonna leave you with just some thoughts. What do you think's gonna happen next time? Is Rixa gonna tear the party apart, or is the party gonna tear him apart? We will find out in 2 weeks. Thank you very much, everybody, for stopping by. Have a spooky night.